This week on LSMN Overtime, we've got basketball action just before playoffs. We'll look at how the Hebron Lady Hawks have turned things around, and we'll highlight a Flower Mound player who's a part of an impressive Jag-family legacy.
Thanks for tuning in to the spring premiere of LSMN Overtime. I'm Alex Salazar. Ice storms in the Metroplex last week created a lot of chaos. Area sports teams had to cancel or reschedule games, but most were back on track this week. Let's begin with Tuesday night girl basketball action. The Colony Lady Cougars hosted the Wakeland Wolverines. The first shot of the game, senior Yasmin Ferraro nails a corner three for an early Cougar lead. Kaylin Norris was active in the paint with a couple of layups. The Cougars led by 9 in the first. A slow second quarter for the Cougars gave the Wolverines life, and they led by 2 at the half. The third quarter was raining threes for the Lady Cougars. Senior Nicole Ramtahel hit a couple of three-pointers. Later in the third quarter, sophomore guard Jayla Jones passes to forward Renee Williams, knocking down another three. The Colony ran away with this one thanks to some great shooting behind the arc. The Lady Cougars defeated Wakeland 49-26, extending their win streak to 8, and more importantly, earning the District 9-5A championship. In other Tuesday night scores, playoff-bound Hebron visited cross-district rival Marcus and came out with a 58-35 win. Flower Mound clinched a playoff spot with their 50-34 win over Lewisville. Turning to district standings, Hebron has the top spot and ranked top 5 in state. Capella at number 2 is actually ranked higher in state with number 3. Flower Mound is sitting 3rd in district thanks to a late season win against the Lady Hawks. Playoffs begin Monday with Hebron taking on McKinney and Lake Dallas. Flower Mound will match up against Denton Braswell at Geyer. Speaking of Hebron, the Lady Hawks have really seemed to turn things around this year after barely sneaking into the playoffs last season. Harley Smith takes a look at how Hebron has improved.
The Lady Hawks basketball team had 3 coaches in 1 year and struggled to find their culture. Now, their foothold is top 5 in state thanks to Coach Branch.
I showed them who I was as far as, they could trust me. I'm going to be here. This is where I want to be. And so, my past experience, I shared that with them, just enough to know that I know basketball.
Honestly, I love her coaching style. I feel like it fits just how we play, just the ball and basket, play defense. She has a very good defense philosophy, and she knows that defensive plays win the game.
She's just uplifting, and she's her presence is very much needed on the court or outside the court.
When they know they have somebody they can trust, and then they'll buy in, and then then you can get to change the culture.
Hebron has seen the Lady Hawks basketball team grow from wanting to get double-digit wins to being a serious threat. Coach Branch leads them to this success by establishing new work ethics.
It's preparation for sure. Each game, each day, each practice is very well thought out. It's planned, and depending on our opponent, we'll kind of tweak some things, but definitely preparation has a huge part to do with its success.
Over the 6 years Coach Branch has been at Hebron, she's put in the work and she wants to reflect that motivation onto her players.
I think you can just really tell how she's very passionate, and she gets in the game. She wants us to do certain things specifically. She holds us accountable too.
You get what you put into it. If you work hard and you put in the effort, then you're going to get the results that you want. There's no reason to take shortcuts or to halfway do things, because those are the results that you're going to get.
For LSMN Overtime, I'm Harley Smith.
The Overtime Grad Star of the Week is Jewel Spear, a 2020 graduate from the Colony. The 5'10 junior at Wake Forest was a key factor in the Demon Deacons' overtime win over Clemson on February 5th. Spear put up a game-high 29 points with 5 rebounds and 3 assists. Lewisville star Maya Dotson set a single-season scoring record last Friday. During the game against Plano, Dotson surpassed 500 points. She scored 538 points for the season. She's also surpassed 500 rebounds and 260 steals in her impressive career with the Lady Farmers. Turning to boys basketball action, Flower Mound traveled to Lewisville Tuesday night. The Jags owned the inside of the paint for the first few possessions of the game, including these jams from senior Josh Lowe. But that's where the offense ended for the Jags. The Farmers had a great shooting night, led by shooting guard Adrian Banks. Banks started knocking down every shot he took and really seemed to lock in during the second quarter. Banks had 8 three-pointers and racked up 30 points total for the game. The Farmers took down the Jags 79-38. securing the 4th and final position in districts. You can catch the Fighting Farmers Friday night on our LSMN Game of the Week at 7 p.m. as they travel to Marcus. Other boys basketball scores from Tuesday night. Hebron traveled to Marcus and came out with a close 56-52 win. Lewisville easily defeated Flower Mound 79-38. The Colony hosted Wakeland, but the Cougars took the loss 64-54. With 2 games left in the boys' season, District 6-6A is pretty tight. Hebron at number 3 and Lewisville at number 4 could still both move up in standings. Those two will face off Tuesday night in the season finale. When we come back from the break, we'll look at soccer action. We'll also have results from the regional swim meet, which includes this week's Spotlight. Welcome back to Overtime. Here's a look at the boys' soccer scores from Tuesday night. Top-ranked Hebron had an 11-game win streak snapped when Coppell tied them 3-3. Lewisville went to Marcus and also finished in a draw. Flower Mound took down Plano 2-1. The Colony was handed a big loss by Frisco Lone Star 5-0. Tuesday's girls' scores from around the district. Hebron defeated Coppell 3-1. Marcus easily defeated district rival Lewisville 10-2. Flower Mound also breezed past Plano 6-0. The Colony pulled out a close win against Lone Star 1-0. The regional swim meet was this week, and one of Flower Mound's swimmers really stood out. Here's James Trigg with Spotlight.
This week's Spotlight goes to Luke Garrett of Flower Mound. The sophomore swimmer put on an impressive show at Tuesday regional swim meet in Lewisville. Garrett took home the gold in the 100 and 200 frees. He'll also be heading to state in the 200 medley and 400 free relay. Garrett has already had a banner year setting the Flower Mound school record for the 200. We'll see how Garrett and the rest of the Jag swimmers do at the state meet in Austin for next weekend. For Overtime, I'm James Trigg.
Thanks, James. Continuing with swimming action, both boys and girls for Flower Mound swimming team dominated in the regional championships this week. The boys captured first overall, while the girls secured titles in the 200-yard medley and 400-yard freestyle. Helena Poseidon qualified for 2 separate events, including the 100-yard breaststroke. We hope to hear more about these swimmers as they head to state next week. If you've been watching Overtime for the last couple seasons, you've heard us mention Maddie Cox. The outstanding Flower Mound basketball player comes from a long line of athletic success. Vinnie Williams has more.
Flower Mound senior guard Maddie Cox comes from a lineage of successful athletes from basketball to volleyball.
We're just a super competitive family. You know, we did all the sports. Volleyball, softball, you know, you name it, track. 3 of us fell in love with basketball and we all just kind of took off from there.
Having older sisters like Lauren Cox, who's a pro basketball player in Spain, gave opportunity to learn from the best.
I would definitely turn to my family. My sisters are my rock. Just turn to them, whether it's sports, school, you know, should I do this, should I do that? Basically with anything, you know. We're all so different. I'm more of like a guard, basically. I think just kind of separating our different styles of play really been huge.
With Maddie's parents being former basketball players, they had a natural influence on their children.
You know, we never really pressured them into playing sports. It was just kind of what we knew since both of us played basketball, but we kind of let them carve out their own path and we just were there to support them.
Maddie was ready to try any sport. She played soccer, she played baseball, softball, volleyball, basketball, any kind of sport there was, she was up for it.
With that, Maddie's parents believe that her and her sisters have had an impact on the community.
They've gone to elementary school here, middle school, high school.
Having 4 kids go through here all playing sports, more girls will see that and hopefully in greater participation in girls' athletics and see that they can play a sport if they want to.
With LSMN Overtime, I'm Vinnie Williams.
That's all the sports updates we have for this week. Always working overtime for LSMN, I'm Alex Salazar.